action.
All right, guys, welcome back. It's Free Tip Friday. We are just an hour or so away from our pour. Concrete truck's gonna come up there. Finally got the driveway all graded. Dropped a load of road base in there so the concrete truck doesn't sink into the driveway. And we should be able to pour these three of these footings just right from the chutes out of the truck. And then this one we're gonna have to wheelbarrow in, so we built a little ramp. So I'm going to do a little walkthrough, give you guys some information on concrete. I am not an expert concrete guy at all, but I know the basics. You know, this is a trowel, these are forms, and we'll figure out the rest. So let's do a little walkthrough. Come on over. So first things first, we got our slab over here. This is where the stairs are going to come down to a landing. That'll be about yay high. And then I'm gonna frame walls around this, do it all up in siding, tile the top so it's completely waterproof. That way I can store chairs and cushions and stuff, make it kind of a little dual purpose feature on the deck. And then the stairs are gonna come up here onto the landing, turn, and then go up onto the deck. It's gonna be glorious. Let's take a look at one of these footings here. So we've got a 2 foot by 3 foot, 8-inch thick footing. Plenty big for what we're doing. Overkill, as many would say. And we're using what's called a single whaler system. So we've got 2 metal snap ties that go through the form and stick out, and you sandwich those with 2x4s, and then you pound one of these steel wedges on it, which holds it together. So as the concrete's pushing apart, the snap tie is in tension, and it's going to hold everything straight and prevent your forms from bowing out in the middle here where there's going to be the most pressure. So there are systems for doing much larger walls, which are called the double whaler system. So you would build a wall with 2x4s, you know, on like a 16-inch layout or a 2-foot layout, and then you'd add these whalers on top of that. So the ties would be twice as long, and then it's the same system except twice as much support for the plywood. Totally not necessary here. Up top, we're going to pour the concrete in a single pour and do a cap right here. So we've got about a 3-inch overhang, which will leave me enough room to put a rock veneer on the concrete if I want to down the road. If the concrete looks pretty enough, I'm probably just going to leave it. And then we're just going to trowel this level. Not worried about putting a slope on the cap because it's going to be mostly posts, and it'll be under like a 3-foot cantilever from the deck, so there's never going to be any water on it, so I don't need to worry about rot and that kind of crap. So we've got 4 of these bad boys. Now, from what I know about concrete is a lot of people call it a concrete pour, but technically it's called placing concrete, because concrete, if it's mixed properly, is not actually in a liquid form. And it's not supposed to be soupy and pour in, so it's actually a solid or whatever. I don't know the science behind it. But there's all sorts of different mixes. And what we're going to have to do is vibrate the concrete. Which, when you're vibrating, because if you pour the concrete in just as is, it'll be okay. A lot of people don't notice. A lot of guys tap it with their hammer, and what that does is it allows the air bubbles that are caught in the concrete to rise to the surface. So, you know, picture your concrete as like one of those aero bars with all sorts of little air bubbles in it. It's not as strong. So you want all that air to rise to the surface. So what we use is a concrete vibrator. I've got a little one. And what the vibration does is it temporarily liquefies the concrete and allows the air to rise to the surface, so that when you're done, you don't have little air bubbles all along the edge of your form, which look really ugly. So it gives you a much nicer, smoother finish on your concrete and adds strength. So if you can, rent a vibrator or get a vibrator when you're doing a big pour. But for most small stuff, guys just use their hammer, tap the sides of the form, and it does an okay job. So we've got this thing all braced up. We use the, you know, duplex nails or whatever. These things are not going to go anywhere. I'm not worried about a blowout at all. We definitely went overkill with all the bracing, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, if you guys have any questions about concrete, here's another little tip for you guys. You want to use what's called a magnesium float. A lot of guys, you know, just grab a trowel or whatever their grandfather left in their garage when he moved on, and they think that's for concrete, and it is, but not for concrete pouring. You want to use what's called a magnesium float. Now, if you use a steel float and you start smoothing out that concrete, what the steel float does is it draws all the moisture to the surface, and you'll just get a huge pool of water just sucking out of your concrete, and it just makes a nasty mess. So you want to use what's called a magnesium float or even a wood float. That leaves the water as is and allows you to put a smooth finish on the concrete without sucking a bunch of water out and just wrecking the finish on top. Because if there's too much water on top of your concrete, it doesn't harden properly. And after it's dried and everything like that, the top layer will flake off and just leave a nasty finish. So you definitely want to use the right trowel mag float. Okay, that's your bonus tip for this week. What am I missing, Nate? Oh yeah, my ever so intelligent compadre here just informed me that you do want to use a steel float on concrete, just not in the initial pour. And we know that one of you trolls or you info dorky guys is going to call me on it, you tech spec weirdos. So we'll just let the information come out right now so I don't have to deal with you idiots in the comment section. Okay? After the concrete has set up for about, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour usually, is that right? Yeah, about that. So the first pour, you use this just to kind of level it off. But this mag float's not going to leave you like a nice polished surface on top of your concrete. So you will want to come back with a steel trowel, which kind of draws up that moisture once the concrete has begun to set. So it doesn't make a big mess after about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the weather. It could be longer if it's like a wet, wintry day. Then you want to use the steel trowel, polish that thing up, do your corner bead trowel, a little round over your edges, and you'll get a nice, smooth, creamy polish on that thing with a steel trowel. So mag first, then steel. Thanks for the tip, Nate.
That's perfect.
That's pretty much the rundown on concrete. Like,
That's it. That's all there is to
I
know.
nailed it, man. Samurai for the win. I'd like to say I built these, but I didn't. It was actually Nate and his guy, Abby. And I kind of just oversaw everything. Made sure they were doing it right, you know? I was having too much fun on the little mini, digging a big mess and filling up the footings with dirt and getting people all angry at me. But, you know, it's all good. We're going to crack a few beers once we're done the pour here. Maybe have a slice of pizza. Just enjoy our Friday. All right, this is what we're going to be vibrating the concrete with. It is made by the tool company that shall not be named, because they offended my heart. Ultimately, this is just a little motor with a little offset gimbal thingamadooger down there that when it spins, creates vibrations because it's not evenly balanced. And I can only imagine what the comment section is going to be like with me holding a giant vibrator. Oh, all the pervs are going to come out. It's going to be great. Can't wait. So what you do is, as the concrete's pouring, you drop this sucker in, vibrate to the surface, right? And the air, wherever the vibration is focused, right, the air bubbles will start to rise. So you kind of start at the bottom. All the air will come up to the surface, right? You do that a couple of times. That's all you need. You don't want to over vibrate. Another prime joke opportunity for the comment section right there. Never over vibrate, especially on large walls. Guys that just think, oh man, the more you vibrate, the better, less air. It creates an insane amount of pressure when the concrete is liquefied. It has way more hydrostatic pressure, and it could blow your whole forms right apart if you just keep vibrating in the same spot. So dangerous. I've heard of all sorts of horror stories and seen a few smaller footings blow out myself, so don't over vibrate. That's your bonus tip for this week, all right? Catch you next time. have it, guys. Concrete pour is finished. Now without a little bit of stress and frustration. Concrete truck, we thought we'd be able to back right up to the forms and just shoot it right in. Turns out he couldn't. He could only get up to the edge of my barn. We had to wheelbarrow like a bunch of mad dogs. Probably gonna be crying when I get out of bed tomorrow morning, but hey. Other than that, it's a happy Friday. We got beer, we got Timbits, Canadian delicacy. Oh yeah, love life. That's it for this Friday, guys. We strip the forms on Monday and start framing. Till then, everybody say it. 1, 2, 3. Samurai out. You didn't know what we were saying? Gosh. You don't watch my channel religiously? Oh yeah. Other huge news is Alec got my package that I delivered to him, and we're gonna be releasing that video this Sunday, okay? So part 2 of the Alec Steele Samurai collaboration is coming this Sunday. Stay tuned, because it's the biggest thing on the internet.